Hello and welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central. I am Gil Ingles, and with me in the studio today, ladies and gentlemen, the man is an entrepreneur, the man is a writer, the man is an author, the man is someone that has actually gotten a chance not only to deep dive into his heritage, but he has actually been one of the chosen ones to be able to find his identity. Boukman, Diaspora stand up. Haitian, Haiti is in the house. It's Naboule. Welcome to Diaspora Central.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Man, a pleasure.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, you have a very inspirational story. You know that.
Thank you.
In many aspects, from an heritage aspect, from the aspect of representation, right? Because a lot of people don't quite understand how important it is, the power of representation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we all know that great men are made out of a lot of pressure, just like diamonds, right? It takes pressure to create a great man. There are plenty of good men out there and plenty of men, but great men suffer a lot of pressure.
Yes.
And that pressure starts very early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it starts at home. Sometimes can even be that caring pressure. Okay.
Absolutely.
And what we do here at Diaspora Central is we actually start the conversation on inspirations, and we would like to end on aspirations. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Can we have that conversation with you today?
Absolutely. 100%.
All right. So let's go. Let's start home.
Yes.
Okay. Family, mom, dad, country of origin from them, and how you connect back to diaspora.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, I go by Boukman. But my name is Frantz Court Jr. Right? I was a first generation Haitian American.
Yeah.
Right?
You know that first name and middle name and last name, you're gonna have to say it slow, because it's like you say it like you say it like a nation would say it, right? And people that understand a bit of, actually not even French people who probably miss that one, I think only Creole would really catch, because they would know where the name starts and when one finishes and when the next one starts and when the next one. Because you just say it like it's one name. Yeah. No, there are like three. You said three names in there. Of course, you guys use Junior also as part of the name. So yeah, go ahead and say it slow.
It's actually just two names, but the last name is very long.
Right. And then you got Junior, of course.
And then I got Junior.
You guys use Junior. Yeah, that's the third.
I don't want to be mistaken for my dad, right? So first name is Frantz, last name is Darananko.
Darananko.
Yes, right. And then Junior.
Junior.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So so I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn, stand up.
New York is in the building.
New York is in the building, you know. So, but both my parents, mother and father, were born and raised in Haiti. So they met actually in New York.
Yeah.
And they started a family in Brooklyn. And I was the second born of those 6 kids, right?
Oh wow, big family.
Yeah. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. You know, it's first generation Haitian American, not really knowing too much about what it means to be Haitian. Just a young black kid, you know, growing up in the streets of Flatbush Avenue.
Right.
But like when I would go to school, I would notice I would be treated differently, right, for being Haitian. And I didn't quite understand that. Right. So I felt like I looked like everyone else, but dressed like everyone else. But because I had that identity of being Haitian, I was treated differently.
Indeed. And this I guess let's try to time frame this. Are we talking 70s, 80s, 90s? When are we talking?
We're talking about 80s.
80s, okay. 80s. So you Gen X.
I'm Gen X, I guess.
Yeah, you Gen X.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like in elementary school in the early 80s.
Right. Yeah. So you Gen X.
Gen X, okay.
Right.
I'll take that.
Yeah, and at that point also there are great things happening in New York. Hip hop is starting to come up, right? And for a lot of people that don't know, hip hop actually has pioneers like the late Kango Kid. right, who's also of Haitian descent,
Yep.
right, and
Yep.
and many others. But anyway, for the sake of continuity, I want to touch back a little bit on the family. So you, the second of 6, boys, girls. Do you remember the names of the siblings, and can you name them
Do I
all?
remember the names of my brothers and sisters? Let me see. Let me try to draw. Yeah. Now my older brother, Tupac.
Okay.
Franz, me, my sister Farah, then my brother Robbie, and there's half brothers and half sisters in there. Also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's the reason why sometimes I like to ask, because a lot of us, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because a lot of us in the U.S. there's this term as half brother, half sister, which is a term that really for us does not exist. It's either you a brother or a sister. There's no half.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether you have both parents or just one. And a lot of times, even when you cousins, they grew up together, you also end up becoming brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's why in the beginning, when you first asked me, I just said I have 6.
Yeah,
2 of 6. But when you get a little bit deeper, it's like blaming and figuring out. So I just wanted to make it a little bit clear. But I never called my brothers and sisters half.
I definitely appreciate that. But we, for the sake of our audience, we always have to break that down because they need to understand it too. So I'm sorry, I'll take you back.
No problem. So my older brother Tupac, and then my sister Farah, and then Ravi, Alora, and Woody.
Okay.
So that's 4 boys, 2 girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
and mom and dad.
Mom and dad.
Father's name, of course, is
Frantz Court.
Yeah.
And my mother, Mai Alice Woolley.
Yeah. What city in Haiti?
Port-au-Prince.
Port-au-Prince.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where they were born and raised.
You're right in the honeycomb.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we grew up, in New York City, and it was great. I had my childhood. We didn't have much. We were up and coming. My parents were new immigrants to the country, and but they worked very hard to provide for us.
Yeah. What industry were they involved in at the time?
My father actually was in the medical field.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was very brilliant.
Yeah.
And he ended up being a cardiac surgeon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mother, she just worked a lot of jobs in the fashion industry.
Right.
She worked jobs in Manhattan here and there. She went to Brooklyn College.
Okay.
So she's just a hard working woman, right? And now she has her own catering business.
There you go. So you had that example of entrepreneurship already at home.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that started with as far as I could remember. My grandmother on my mom's side, my maternal grandmother.
Okay, what's her name?
We call her Meme.
Okay.
Maï Blanchard. And she was hustling in Brooklyn from as early as I could remember, selling her tablet and her douce and her épices.
There
and,
you go.
To the local Haitian markets and restaurants. So I remember her just in the kitchen, cooking up stuff and selling it, at wholesale, retail, all that stuff. So I remember that.
Yeah. No, and which is really great, because I personally believe that when you have those kind of examples at home, as you grow, eventually your normal state becomes that bottom line right there, right? You know that, okay, if you work hard enough, you can make it happen.
Yeah, it's a leap of faith, entrepreneurship, because I wasn't always an entrepreneur, but I always felt out of like a fish out of water in a 9-to-5 job. Yeah. I felt like, these walls are closing in on me. I don't feel comfortable here. I wanted to break out, you know. So, but there was, in the beginning, in a 9-to-5, I felt like that was secure until I was laid off, right? And then I go to another job and I work there for a few years, and then, things don't work out and you're not there anymore. Yeah. So I was like, this is not as secure as I thought it was, right? Yeah. In fact, I feel a lot more secure as an entrepreneur, knowing that, the income that I could produce is based on my own efforts, not somebody else's.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So I feel a lot more security now as an entrepreneur, knowing that I have several businesses, several different streams of income. Yeah. And, and depending on how hard I want to work on each particular business,
Yeah.
you know, I could make that profitable for myself
Definitely.
and my family.
Yeah, a man with multiple streams of income.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Today, of course, a necessity, no longer just an option. Now it's really almost like a necessity.
No,
Especially
you have
if
to.
you're
These days, yeah, you can't depend on one source of income these days, because
Yeah.
that could go away just like that.
Right.
So if you have any type of passion, right, yeah, that's pretty much what I did with my publishing company. I turned my passion into profit.
Indeed.
You know, so you have a passion, then that's something that was kind of like born inside of you. And something that's born inside of you, you can make a living off of.
Right.
Right. So if you have any type of passion, you could learn how to turn that into a business for yourself, even if you have a 9-to-5, because I started my side businesses while I was at the 9-to-5.
Yeah.
So I was kind of growing it, you know, on the
Exactly.
side.
Yeah.
And then when I didn't want to deal with the 9-to-5 anymore, I was confident enough to step out on faith.
Yeah, you got
it worked out.
Yeah, you got to have that plan of transitioning from
Absolutely.
working for someone into the, I guess, into the independent or into becoming an entrepreneur. But let's take our first break,
Yes.
okay? And take a look at a few images of you doing anything of your stuff, any of your businesses. It doesn't matter what it is, because we got time and we can appreciate you stopping by. So let's go ahead and promote some of the things that you got going on. If you just tuned in, you are now joined into Diaspora Central Spotlight, and our guest today is Frantz. You can call him Boukman. Yes, Haiti in the building. We'll be right back.
I started Thoroughbred Books in 2016 because I felt that not enough people were aware of one of the most important events that took place in Black history. Really world history, the Haitian Revolution. Since then, I made it my mission to share the many stories of our heroes and sheroes from Haiti that played major roles in the liberation of Black people worldwide. I'm excited about what the future holds, because we are just getting started. Stay tuned.
And we are back. If you have just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central Spotlight. And our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is the author, a man with the gift of penmanship. Yes, one that can take a story, translate it into words that kids and adults can appreciate. Boukman. Brooklyn is in the building.
Brooklyn.
Now, what schools did you go to in Brooklyn?
Elementary school, I went to a school called St. Francis of Assisi. That's in off of Lincoln Place.
No, that's a Catholic school, right?
Catholic school.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Haitian parents.
Right.
Made sure I got that good Catholic school education.
Indeed.
And even going into high school, I went to Nazareth Regional High School.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then after Nazareth Regional High School, I was there for a few years, and then I actually moved to California. I lived in San Diego.
Okay.
That's where I finished high school.
Okay.
And then came back out to the East Coast, and I attended Virginia State University.
I got you. Oh, okay. So Mid-Atlantic
HBCU.
region. Yeah. What school did you attend in San Diego?
A school called Fairbanks.
Oh, okay.
Fairbanks. It's like a small kind of like prep school. It was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that I met at that school, I'm still friends with today.
Okay.
So it was a cool experience. For
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Now,
Change of scenery.
Got you. Now, in elementary school, any teachers or any staff, any family friends around that time that kind of became very influential in your life?
Let's see. Around that time of elementary school, I mean, I have certain memories of teachers, you know, but nothing that really kind of like sticks out. Like my life today, I can't look back and say, oh, yeah, these teachers put me on the right path. Right. I'm kind of like a lot of what I do now is self-educated, self-taught, you know.
Yeah.
But as far as teachers, maybe not in the elementary, the teacher who has had the biggest effect on my life to this point is Professor Baina Bello. Professor Baina Bello, and I want to give a shout out to Professor Baina Bello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Was she actually a teacher of yours, or is someone that you came across as you were educating yourself?
Yes, yes. So I came across Professor Bello while I was on my journey of learning and educating myself on Haitian history.
Yeah. So before we even hop on that, so as you growing up, at that point, you don't even, did you already have an idea that this is what you were going to end up doing? At that point in time, what was Frantz thinking about? Because at that point, you're just Frantz. You're not even Boukman yet.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. I really didn't have a direction for my life early on. Really, I was just like following the system.
Got you.
Right. You know, you go to school and, you know, you get an education, you get a paper degree, and, you know, you go get a job.
Right.
Right. And that's pretty much the path I was following. I didn't really have any type of, I never really questioned myself of like, what do I really want to do? I was just kind of like following what I thought needed to be done. Right.
Yeah. Get a job, make good money, be able to provide.
Get married, have some kids, buy a house, get a car, and do that until, you know, you retire. And then, you know, hopefully you have enough money to retire somewhere warm.
There you go.
And then that's it, you know, so. So yeah, that was kind of like my path.
So at what point and what actually triggers that awakening of having to look for more? Right.
It's if I go really deep.
Yeah, we go deep. This is Diaspora Central. We go deep. Remember, I introduced you as a man that deep dives, so we deep dive in here.
Absolutely. So now, if I really want to, like, and I have thought about it because I've been asked this question before, and I kind of introspected and kind of see, where did this happen? It actually happened. I live in Maryland.
Okay.
Right. And years ago, probably like about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, there was a lot of unrest in the country. There was it seemed like every other week or every week, police were shooting down black kids, black kids. You know, like you know, the Michael Browns and Trayvon Martin and stuff like that. So I would see that stuff on TV, and I'm like, man, another one, another one. But then it hit home when it happened to Freddie Gray.
Right.
Freddie Gray was in Baltimore.
Yeah, that's Baltimore.
And I have property in Baltimore. And I was in Baltimore at the time when the protests and the riots were happening about Freddie Gray. Yeah. So I saw my people suffering like right in front of my eyes. And I didn't really know like how can I help? Like I want to do something. Like I was doing okay. You know, I'm in real estate. I'm doing the different things, but something affected me when I saw the pain in my people's eyes, and I wanted to help some way. And then that's kind of like when I started just researching. I mean, I didn't even really know what I was researching. I think I was researching riots or different protests and unrest. Right. And I didn't know what I was looking for. I was just like, let me just Google and look. And then I came across, I was like, did we ever win? Like I felt like we always have this riot and we have these protests and we say what we want. We never get it. And then the same thing, and then it dies down. The same thing happens again, maybe a month later.
Becomes a cycle.
It dies down, and then the same thing happens again. And then I was like, is this ever gonna stick? Like, was there ever a point in time where we actually rose up together and asked for what we wanted, and it actually stuck? Okay. And that led me to the Haitian Revolution. So I didn't know about that.
So all along as you growing up, you know nothing about the Haitian Revolution.
No.
So even because I mean I know that I learned a little bit about the Haitian Revolution. It was actually, I think, through readings. I was one of those library worms. I really stayed in the library on my free periods at school. So I used to read, and every so often you found a couple of lines, and that's when I learned about Toussaint Louverture. Yeah. So in your case, I'm sure at home you probably heard certain stories.
At home, when I was living in California, my father had like a poster, a framed poster of Toussaint Louverture. But he never mentioned anything about it. Like, it was in the house,
Right.
and I would see it it's like, oh, that's weird, a black general,
Yeah.
you know? And I saw his name, Toussaint Louverture, but I never questioned it. I remember seeing it.
Gotcha.
But I never really got deep into it. My father never really said anything about it. It was just there on his wall.
Right.
So, but that was pretty much it.
Wow. So once you get to Baltimore,
Yes.
pressure is applied.
Yes.
Now you understand that you part of a lineage of leaders
Yes.
that has to do something in order to change the direction or change the narrative.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was looking for, at that time when I saw what was happening in Baltimore, I was looking for a way to contribute.
Gotcha.
And that led me to where I am today. So yeah, I was looking up information, and then I found Haitian Revolution. I was like, oh, that's funny. I'm Haitian, right? Let me look a little bit more into this.
Yeah.
And then I come across the story. I was like, whoa, wow, we came together as enslaved Africans and went to war against our oppressors,
Right.
defeated the French army, the British army, the Spanish army,
Right.
and claimed independence on our
Right.
own terms in
Yeah.
1804.
The first and probably the only people to ever do that.
Absolutely. So I was like, first of all, I was amazed, shocked, and like, how come, first of all, why am I just learning about this now? Right? How did this like escape me? You know, because I'm not a young person, right?
That's the narrative.
So I was like, wow. So, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to learn everything I can because I'm searching for an answer,
Yeah,
right, to help my people.
indeed.
So there's a precedent for, we came together. We felt like we were oppressed. We felt like we didn't have freedom.
Right.
And we came together and we fought for that freedom and we won. So if that's what we're trying to do now, today, then there must be lessons from this victory that we had in
Right.
IET. So I was searching and researching and looking for answers.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on writing a book, right? I was just learning for myself. Like, okay, I'm gonna get lessons from here so we could apply it to today.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing journey of mine. That changed my life. Learning about our ancestors, Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques
Gotcha.
Dessalines, Henry Christophe,
Yeah.
and the women, Maï Jean, Sanit Belair, Cecile Fatiman. So I felt like those ancestors, while I was doing that research,
Yeah.
each of those ancestors embodied me at one time.
Yeah. They started reaching out.
Yes.
Yeah, they started reaching out. And eventually you come across Professor.
Bainina Bello.
Bainina
Yes. Doing my research.
Okay.
She has a lot of information on YouTube. So as I'm reading on my books and Googling and looking on YouTube, typing in Haiti, see what pops up, Professor Bainina Bello will pop up. And the way that she teaches,
Right.
the way that she delivers the message, I mean, it hit me to the core.
Gotcha.
Right. So I attached myself, like everything that was on YouTube where she was speaking, I was watching. And I was in multiple times, sometimes going to sleep with like my headphones on, listening to her teachings.
You became a true student.
I was a true student.
Yeah.
Yeah. And me and many others. I mean, I was probably late to the party, to be honest.
Indeed. No, but a lot of times it's not how early or how soon you come into it, right? It's what you do with what you get, right? So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take another break and take a look at some more images of that. Maybe we can pass a little something from the professor that you actually look up to, Professor Bainina Bello, in regards to Haiti and its independence. So let's go into this break and we'll be right back. And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned to Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles. Yes, this is the Spotlight with Mr. Boukman, Mr. Frantz. What's the rest of the name?
The Renancourt.
The Renancourt.
Junior. Yeah, my dad is in California today.
Yeah. Boukman. Yeah. But so you meet this professor that actually is giving you a lot of knowledge. You are searching for knowledge. You're searching for an identity. Come on, you lived many years without worrying about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're somewhat enlightened by what you're finding out.
Yes.
Are you scared? Are you excited? What is your state of mind around that time?
I was a sponge, right? I was just taking everything in. And I've never studied anything before that I really wanted to understand and know. You know what I mean? Like going to school and taking classes. It's like, okay, you have to memorize this.
You're going through the motions.
Exactly. It's a very unemotional school. School was never really my thing, to be honest, right? But this was the first subject that I truly entrenched myself in. Yeah. And it affected me emotionally.
Wow.
So I was just a sponge taking everything in. I was grateful. Professor Bello was just one of the, people that affected me. She affected me in a great way. But, the stories of our ancestors and what they accomplished affected me. Each one has a different story and it affects me in a different way. So I was just deep diving into all of the stories and learning as much as I can. Yeah.
Now Haiti is a very rich and a very interesting story.
Absolutely.
Because many people don't know that it is the first black nation to be independent, or the first nation of African descent to be independent and ran by a government of African descent.
Yes.
Right. Or actually, we should even say a mixed government, in all honesty, because in that government also there were people that were not of African descent.
Yeah, right? There was mixed.
Right, it was mixed
race.
Yeah. So the first fully diversified government, we could probably say.
Yeah. I always say that Haiti is they fought and won for human rights. Right. I know we like to say, the first independent black nation, which is true.
Right.
But they fought for human rights. Because once we won our own independence, we didn't stop there.
Right.
Other countries came to us for help with their liberation fights, like Simone Bolivar, Miranda, Greece. All of these countries that were in slavery or oppressed, they saw the example of IET and they came to help, and we were willingly offered that help. And with our money, guns, soldiers to fight, boats, coffee, right? The Greece. The Greeks sent a letter to Jean-Pierre Boyer, which was one of the presidents of IET at the time, requesting help with their fight for liberation against the Turks, and we couldn't send people or money to them. Right. So we sent tons of coffee for them to sell. Yeah. So that they could go and purchase their weapons and ammunition and things that they needed for their liberation efforts. So Haiti was a beacon of freedom around the world. Yeah,
and a nation that of course, through its solidarity also helped many, and also suffered for many.
Absolutely.
Right, because that liberation didn't come free at all. Came at a heavy cost.
Heavy cost.
Very heavy cost. So entertain our audience with the actual cost of the independence, the financial aspect that the French actually attached to the independence of Haiti.
Yes. So, well, first, when we won our independence in 1804, Haiti was immediately ostracized economically by the rest of the world. The European slaveholders, the European powers, which were slaveholders, British, French, Spanish, United States, none of them recognized Haiti's independence.
Wow.
because, of course, Haiti is now a threat to their economic way of life,
right,
which is slavery.
Yeah.
Right. So now there's a nation of black people who are independent and running their own country. That is inspiration to all black people around the world at the time.
Right.
Especially those who are currently in an enslaved situation.
Indeed.
So everywhere they heard the story of IET, now black people want to be free.
Right.
IET has inspired rebellions all over the West.
Indeed.
Right. So now the other countries don't want Haiti to succeed from the very beginning, and they do that by economic embargoes. Now, on top of that, in 1825, the French say, okay, you know what? I think we need reparations for our loss.
Now,
so yes,
hold on. Let's understand this correctly. We're not talking about the oppressed Haitian people or the people from Haiti asking for reparations. No, we are talking about the European country, France, that colonized Haiti, asking for reparations for their loss.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. It sounds crazy, I know.
Yeah.
But that's how bold these people that we're dealing with are, right?
Yeah.
So they sent an envoy to Haiti in 1825, and they said, you know what? If you want us and all the other Western powers to recognize your freedom and your independence, then you have to pay us reparations in the amount of $160 million. And this is in 1825.
Right.
Today's money,
million.
that's probably about $20 billion in today's money, probably more.
Yeah.
And this is for a new country coming up. And first of all, they've attempted this before. They attempted this with the king of Haiti years ago, Henry Christophe. And the envoy that the French sent, Christophe sent them back in a body bag.
Ooh, balls.
Just for the gall of asking. We paid for our freedom with our blood.
Right.
Right, and our force of arms.
Yeah, now you want wow.
Right? And Pétion, it's the same thing. They approached Alexander Pétion with the same. He said, absolutely not. So this President Jean-Pierre Boyer, I'll put him on blast.
Right.
This is the president that they approached.
Third attempt. Yeah.
After multiple attempts.
Yeah.
So now they send warships to the harbor with this envoy. And they strong-arm him, you know, but he made the decision.
Okay.
At first, it was, you know, a meeting of the minds, and everyone disagreed. They're like, nope, you can't do that.
Right.
And then the head of the envoy met with the president in a private room and discussed. He's like, look, you know, we'll give you loans, we'll do this, we'll do that. And on top of that, if you don't sign this agreement, then we're going to bombard the town with bombs. And we're going to go back to war. I don't know if it was true or a bluff. I don't know.
Right.
But that was the deal that was on the table. And without anybody else knowing, Jean-Pierre Boyer signed that deal. And ever since then, and of course, Haiti didn't have $160 million.
Right.
So they had to take loans from French banks at enormous interest rates to pay these installments.
Yeah.
So this is like one of the first, you know, examples of debtor nations.
Yeah.
Right. You put a nation in debt.
Exactly.
And then now you pretty much ruled that nation through their finance. So.
Yeah. And from that point, it's almost like, okay, this car is stuck in the mud, and you go ahead and keep on adding water to that soil because you know that it's just going to spin and dig a deeper hole. Eventually, the wheels won't even touch anything else and can never get out. Can get traction, can get out.
Perfect example.
Right. And because a lot of people don't understand how difficult Haiti really had it. Let's go ahead and go into another break and take a few more images into some of the things that you got going on in your entrepreneurial efforts, and we'll be right back.
As far back as I can remember, I've always been a storyteller. But ever since I've been digging in my roots, there's no other story that I'd rather tell. So now I'm on a mission. and I feel my ancestors are walking with me. They left us a powerful legacy, and I'm going to do my best to make sure we all remember them for it.
And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles. And today on the spotlight, we have Boukman, yes, Mr. Frantz Jr. in the building. Brooklyn, yes, Diaspora, stand up.
Flatbush, stand up.
Yeah, Haiti. Haitian. Yeah, man. It's interesting facts, a lot of good factors. You're being enlightened. You're finding out that all of a sudden you're not just this guy who's here to look handsome, right? Walk around and make money, walk around, talk a lot, do whatever. You actually have a much greater mission than you ever thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because with dedication comes responsibility. And that social responsibility starts to awaken within you.
Yeah.
At what point does that transition into penmanship comes?
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, when I was doing all of this research, it was never to write a book, right? It was just for me. But what ended up happening, I started gaining all of this knowledge. And now when you gain knowledge, like knowledge is not power. Shared knowledge is power. Right?
Yeah, say that again, man. That's a quote right there.
and I gotta say this, my boy Kervin Andre, A Comics Art, he says that. Knowledge is not power. Shared knowledge is power. Indeed. Right? So I'm gaining all of this knowledge. And I'm like, man, I need to tell somebody. Right? So well, I just start telling people, it's like, yo, do you know what happened in 1804? Do you know what IET did? Did you know that, Dessalines, Toussaint Louverture? It was coming out sporadically here, right?
Indeed. And my grandmother used to call that finding your tribe. Right. Because when you're sharing all that information, that's when you're actually selecting, and that selection process of those who actually believe and understand what you're talking about are also coming closer to you. But go on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started sharing all this information, and what I realized quickly was a lot of people didn't know either. I wasn't the only one. Like there was a lot of people that I was telling the story to. They're like, really? What? I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Or some people heard about it or something, but they didn't really know any type of details. So I was like, yeah, this is what's going on. But I found that people were interested in it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I started telling my children the stories. In fact, my son who loves reading, and he likes picture books. He was 7 years old at the time.
What's his name? You can share the name if you like to.
Yeah, that's my son, Chase Antonio Duranencourt. So he's a big reader, at 7, picture books and stuff. He always used to have like books on, the founding fathers of America, George Washington's story, Abraham Lincoln's story, Thomas Jefferson, all these different history type things. Of course, also Malcolm X and MLK and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, you know what? I just learned all this information about IET, Haiti. Let's go find some, picture books on Haiti.
Right.
So we go to the bookstore looking for something at his reading level. Couldn't find it. Go to the library looking for something at his reading level. Couldn't find it.
Right.
I was like, huh. So I was like, okay. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Like, not to cut you off. You want to know something funny? When the first time was that I heard about Toussaint Louverture in high school? AP History. And how many of us take AP History?
That's right. That's right.
So go on.
Exactly. Yeah. So we couldn't find the information for him at a young age. So I was like, okay, well, I tell my kids stories at night. That's just what I do, right? So I started writing down. I started telling him from memory.
Right.
But then I was like, okay, I'm going to tell him this story on Monday. I'm going to tell him this story on Tuesday. And I started writing down these things. And then next thing you know, I just keep writing. And I keep writing and I keep writing. It started flowing.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was like, oh, okay, I got something here. Right. And then I was like, you know what? Like the books that he likes has illustrations.
Right.
So I was like, let me see if I could find some illustrations. So I went, there were a bunch of sites at the time. I think the site I was on is sort of like a Fiverr type site. I forget the name of it now. There's like Upwork and stuff like that, but it wasn't that. It was one of those.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, you know what? Let me see if I could find an illustrator. So I typed in, hey, I'm looking for an illustrator for a Black history children's book. And then a lot of people just kind of like bid on your job.
Yeah.
And then you get to look through their profiles.
Got you.
So I was like trying to look for a profile, something with like some Black people and, you know, something that maybe has history. And I found this one illustrator out of India.
Okay.
Called Eminence System. So it had something. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I think I could work with this. So I got in contact with them and I shared my story with them and I gave them an outline of all of the illustrations that I wanted.
Gotcha.
And it came out all right. I was like, oh, this looks all right. So so I put it to the story and then I was like, man, I got a book. Right? And
Not
then,
playing around.
Yeah. And then it came out, my first book, Haiti, the First Black Republic. And you know, I started, you know, I kind of like promoted, I was sharing my journey on social media, like putting the book together. And people were like, wow, this looks cool.
Wow.
And then it dropped in December 2015. And yeah, it did well.
Yeah. So there was one, and now you have 6 of those in the market.
Now I have 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I published.
Right.
I wrote 4, but I published 6.
Okay. You wrote 4 and you published 6. So tell us some of the titles, or actually the titles, all the titles.
Yeah. So in chronological order, Haiti, the First Black Republic, came out in 2016.
Okay.
And then Makandal, the Black Messiah, came out in 2017. Then Boukman and Cecile Fatiman, Black Revolution, that came out in 2018. Then Sheroes of the Haitian Revolution came out 2019. Then the epic story of Toussaint Louverture, that came out in 2021.
Right.
And I'm just now released in 2022. Heroes of the Haitian Revolution. That's the latest book.
Yeah. So as we can see, even in the chronological line, you had Sheroes before Heroes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a CEO mindset right there. What's the name? What's the name of the publishing company?
Thoroughbred Books.
Yeah, and you are the CEO of that company.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, do you have any writers also now in that company? Have you published any books for any other writers?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah. In fact, Professor Bayana Bello.
Okay.
Yeah. She's the author of Sheroes of the Haitian Revolution.
There you go.
Yeah, man. That's that was an awesome experience.
Indeed, and that's normally, I believe, that's the greatest shout out that you can give to anybody, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you can actually share the thing that you both love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed.
It was effortless. You know, it's working together. It was a pleasure.
Right.
Right. Because I'm learning.
There you go.
Like my style of books. You know, each one of my books is no more than 3,000 words.
Okay.
So we profiled 10 Sheroes. So I asked Professor. I was like, okay, can you send me like about 300 words per Shero? And she sent me like 1,500 words per Shero.
There you go. Yeah.
And she's like, listen, you dwindle it down, right?
Pick what you want, but here's what you need.
Exactly. But the information that she sent me, I was like, wow. Like, it's like, it was just mind blowing. Like, so, but the task of getting 1,500 down to 300.
Right.
10 times.
Indeed.
So, you know, that's one of the hardest parts of what I do is, you know, trying to keep the information concise. But there's so much that it's like, what do I put in? What do I leave out? Yeah. So, but the idea is to spark.
Indeed.
You know, and the information
and then
is
allow
out there.
people, right, and then allow people to go look for more.
Exactly.
Also. Yeah, because you can feed them everything because It's not even good to feed them everything. You gotta still allow them to gain that skill of actually going looking for something else to fulfill that need to know more.
Yes.
Yeah. Now on the illustrators though, you also have another illustrator who actually gave you the quote that information is not power. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and him. How did you guys meet, and what books did you guys work on together?
Oh man, yeah. I have to give a great big shout out to my brother Kervin Andre. He's A Comics Art on social media. Yeah, he's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
So I first got familiar with his work. There's a friend of mine. Her name is Soledad, and he painted her as part of like one of his in a collage of one of the paintings that he did.
Yeah.
And she shared it with me, and she was like, "Hey, look, someone put one of my a picture of me in his artwork," and I was like, "Oh, this is dope." And then I noticed it was like Haitian art, like Haitian history, but visual art.
Right.
I was like, "Oh," so I started following the artist, and he would post great paintings, every once in a while. Well, all the time he posts great painting, but one particular painting that he posted, it was a collage of all the Haitian revolutionaries, men and women. Capois-Lamor, Dessalines, Toussaint, Cecile, Fatiman, Tantoya, Maïjeanne, and my jaw just hit the floor. I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I'm researching and writing about all of these people, and he's painting them. So I was like, wow, like it just was dope.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, you know what? I got to find this brother. Right. So I contacted him. I was like, look, I'm a big fan of yours. And we got to connect. Right. This is what I do. You know. So I actually set up an event in his hometown.
There you go. Where is it?
Elizabeth, New Jersey. Yeah.
Okay. Northeast.
Yes, absolutely. And so I traveled up to New Jersey, and then we had like an author artist event. And this is back in, I think, like 2016, 2017, something like that. And then I met him. He had the painting there. Yeah. And I got a nice picture with that painting. Yeah. And then we connected, we built, and we were like, man, we just instantly we're on the same mission. Yeah. Right. But it's just I write and he paints.
There you go.
And then ever since then we were like, yeah, we gotta work together. Yeah. So the first project that we did together was the Boukman, the cover. So he didn't illustrate the whole book. I was like, you know what? I want you to do my book cover for this new book I got coming out. And he did an amazing job on it. It's actually a painting, and I bought it. Yeah. Right. And it hangs in my office today. There you go. And I put that on my book cover, and he's like, and it was so easy to work with him. Right. So I was like, okay, man, what's the next project? Yeah. Right. So the next project was Sheroes. And I was like, yeah, I got the idea, let's do the women, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And he made a portrait of each one of the Sheroes. That was like amazing. You saw some of them.
Yeah, indeed. I got a chance to take a look at not only the books, even some of the artwork also that you brought and that you had displayed. And you currently actually on a tour. Yes. Right. And during this tour, you're going from city to city. Absolutely. Right. You want to give us a very brief highlight of what is it that you're showcasing on this book tour?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the name is to promote my new book, Heroes of the Haitian Revolution. Okay. So the name of the tour is the Heroes Book and Art Tour, right? Because the artist and I, Kervin Andre, and myself, we are on tour. Okay. So we're able to bring some of the original artwork that's featured in the book, because each portrait that's in the book is an original piece of art. And we just take that image and we put it in the book. Yeah. But on the tour, we usually, in some cities that we travel with the original pieces of art. Yeah. That's featured in the book, and some that's not featured in the book. And just to give the guests like an experience, you know, like a different type of experience. Right. Not your regular book signing. Yeah. It's like it's a art exhibition / book signing. Book signing, yeah. So it's been great so far. Yeah.
If I may add, /history lesson.
/history lesson. That's right.
History lesson.
Yeah, because the book it's Heroes of the Haitian Revolution. So we feature 13 different heroes that participated in the fight for independence in Haiti. So we have a lot of people that you know, a lot of people that you may not even heard of.
Right.
You know, which is because we want to introduce a lot of different characters.
Indeed.
That played a major role.
Yeah, indeed.
So it's been great, man. I think I'm probably at like 25 cities
Wow.
now, with more to come.
Which is cool. Definitely nice. And one of the things, if people wanted to reach you, where we did
they can always catch me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Thoroughbred Books.
Yeah.
THOROBRED books. So they don't know UGH. I take the UG out of Thoroughbred, right? And my website, www.thoroughbredbooks.com.
Okay.
I'm easy to catch.
Yeah, definitely. And listen, it's been a pleasure having you here, man.
Thank you.
You been to Haiti lately?
Last time I was in Haiti was 2018.
Okay, 2018. If anyone wanted to go to Haiti, what would you recommend that they do?
Bellevue Tours.
There you go.
Bellevue Tours. My sister, Gerline Emmanuel. I've been to Haiti before, but I went to Haiti with her in 2016.
Yeah.
An amazing experience.
Okay, so
she curates tours, historical tours, culinary tours in IET. So definitely hit her up, Gerline Emmanuel, Bellevue Tours.
Got you. Now, since you grew up in the culture anyway, what is the favorite, your favorite Haitian food?
Oh, man. I told you my mom is a chef, right?
Yeah, you mentioned that. That's why I said you grew up in the culture.
That's right.
Because not only your mom, your grandma also was already.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My mom learned from my grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh, man, my favorite dish, man, it probably got to be a nice poisson rose, like a nice fried snapper.
There you go.
With jus jonjon.
Yeah.
And some pickles, some bon and peze. Yeah, man, I'll be a happy camper with that.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry too.
No, I'm hungry. But listen, Boukman Frantz, man, it's been a great pleasure to have you here. In all honesty, I'm speechless because it's great to see someone that seeks knowledge, finds knowledge, and is willing to share that knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
Because like I mentioned to you, we can always sit back and blame the system for this and for that and for whatever, until we ourselves get up and realize that, you know what, we have these resources accessible to us. It may not be easy, but we have to go through the process of doing so, and taking that leap of faith is really the step that most of us need to take in order to achieve not only economic independence, but also intellectual independence.
Yes.
Because the problem is that now we tend at times to be intellectually enslaved, right?
Absolutely.
We only process the information that we given. We not willing to go and look for what if, why.
Right.
And you have done that. You are the example of that. You are a pillar in the community, and you're definitely doing something for the next generation, because it starts with the children. And all those books are available. I will personally say to a lot of you parents that have children, young children, and some of you even adults, get those books and definitely read them. Saw you at the tour at SED Institute Pan-African Library.
Yes.
The books are also available there. So
That's right.
do not hesitate. If you are in Houston, you know where to go. It's SED Institute.
Yes.
Find the books. Listen, thank you for joining us today. I know
Pleasure.
that you are busy, man. You got something else going on today.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you will be at
Caribbean Craft Market.
Yeah.
This afternoon. I don't exactly remember the address.
That's okay. No, that's
But,
okay. That people in Houston know where that is.
yeah, I just
so.
posted it on my social media, on my
There you go.
Instagram, though, so you can find all the information there. We'll be there this afternoon, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And
there
then
you go.
Dallas
Right.
tomorrow.
Right.
At Aldi's Amphibian Restaurant in Dallas. So you can catch me there
There you go.
tomorrow, Sunday, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah, and we appreciate you coming through, man. It's been a great pleasure. So for those of you that took time out of your schedules to actually listen to this show, this program or this showcase, I can only say one thing: continue to educate yourself, and do never hesitate to take the leap of faith, because only by taking the leap of faith you can become economically and intellectually independent. Until next time, peace.